What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Betty in the Booth podcast. To this week's short version of an episode. We've got MLB postseason updates as we are through the wild card, and last night had the beginning of the NL and ALDS. We have NFL Week 5 to talk about with Week 6 predictions, and we've got college football to be talking about, and more coming up. So, before we get into the main stuff today, I have some big news. I was fortunate enough to go with my dad on Friday to Game 1 of the AL Wildcard Series between the Tampa Bay Rays and Cleveland Guardians. I'm going to be talking about how that went. But along with me going, I did something that I'm planning to get at some point, but it's only going to be YouTube, sadly, because it's going to be hard to really put out a vlog on audio. I vlogged from the game, and I am hoping to edit up a vlog for the YouTube channel. I'm not sure how long it's going to take me, because I know that it can take some time. I am still trying to figure out editing also. But I hope to be doing it soon, hope to complete it soon, hope to get it out to you guys soon. But I do have it, and it's going to even have a bonus clip, not from the game, but from a different time I was at Progressive Field that I still have a video from. I'm not going to say what it is on this, but I do say in the end of the vlog what it is from. I can't wait to get this vlog out to you. It was great. It was amazing. A great game. And can't wait to get out to it. Sad news, sadly. The Scott Efros podcast episode, which still hasn't figured out a date, is going to be postponed probably for the meantime, because sadly, if you are not aware in the baseball world, if you're not a fan of baseball, or if you're not mainly attention to the Yankees or something like that, Scott Efros has just recently been announced to get Tommy John surgery, which pretty much, just to explain to people that might not know what it is, it's basically in the arm, and it basically costs you like a long time. And I think he's getting like the surgery either today or something, I don't know, but so it's gonna be on hold. I still hope to do it with him. I'm still in touch with him, but as of right now, the date is going to be pushed off a bit more, sadly, due to the surgery. But I will keep you guys up to date. As soon as I know when it's going to be, I will let you guys know, and that's the latest on it, with that news coming, sadly, recently. So, let's get into it. MLB postseason. So, once again, just to remind you of my predictions for the wildcard series, I had Cleveland, St. Louis, Mets, and Blue Jays, which, just to let you know, my predictions actually worked out positively this year, unlike last year where I went over in my predictions early on and didn't get anything right, really. But let's get into it. So, the wildcard games start off with the game actually I was at. Cleveland Guardians, Tampa Bay Rays. This was an amazing game. Now, going in, everyone's mindset of the series was this was going to be a pitcher's duel, and it was going to be a battle of who's going to score more. And it absolutely, both games played out that way. I'm going to start with Game 1. Game 1, Shane Bieber versus Shane McClanahan. Both pitchers were phenomenal the first few innings, and Cleveland was doing more damage throughout the entire game than Tampa, but it was still a pitcher's duel. Like, it was scoreless through 6 innings, and then Jose Siri, the Rays' sneaky 9-hitter, who has got sneaky power and a bit of speed, hit one out to put the Rays on the board first, and they're like, okay, here we go. And I'm going to also mention this in the vlog. I remember at the game, which it was great to go to, great atmosphere. It's always great ballpark, Progressive Field in my mind. He was like to me, do you think that the Guardians are going to be able to get those runs back? I'm like, Dad, it's the 6th inning. Like, they still got time. They had done a lot. They've been doing a lot more. And sure enough, bottom half, Jose Ramirez had a 2-run home run, which ended up being the seal that ended up being enough to win, with Bieber almost going full 8 innings, getting taken out 7 and 2 outs in the 8th. But Clase got a 4-out save to shut the door as Guardians took Game 1 2-1. Next up, Phillies at Cardinals. This game was whack. It was 0-0 all the way to the bottom of the 7th, where Juan Yepes became the first ever pinch hitter in Cardinals postseason history to have a pinch hit home run in the postseason ever. Which is crazy because they've been around for this franchise, the Cardinals, has been around for a very long time. Like 1800s long. And the fact that was their first ever was like, what? Like, that caught me off guard. And they have the most pennant, like, World Series championships in the National League. Second most in baseball to the Yankees, obviously. But, like, with how much history they have in the postseason, it's just like, that was a first? So, yeah, but the Cardinals took a 2-0 lead. Bottom of the 8th, top of the 8th, they ended up deciding to use their closer, Ryan Helsley, for a 5-out save, which in the 8th, everything went okay. The 9th, it got dicey. He had lost his control. His fastball was not working. Some of his other pitches were working a bit, but nothing was working. And it got to 2-1, and they finally took him out. I think he had some sort of like injury in his hands or something. I forgot what it was, and then the Phillies just completely took advantage, taking 6 years, the 11+ years they haven't been in the postseason since 2011, off on the Cardinals with a 6-run 9th. And even with St. Louis adding one in the bottom of the 9th, it did not matter as the Phillies took Game 1 in St. Louis, coming back from down 2-0, all in the 9th inning, 6-3. Mariners, Blue Jays. It was all Seattle. Luis Castillo pitched an amazing game. Mariners were all over Alek Manoah. Cal Raleigh having a big 2-run home run that started putting the icing on the cake. By the time Yuntif Shops had started, the game was over. It was 4-0 already in the 7th inning, like game over. And that ended up being the final score, 4-0. Manoah just got wrecked. Castillo pitched great. That's how you summarize Game 1 of the Mariners game. Mariners took Game 1 4-0. And in case you might not know, obviously these wildcard series are now best of 3 and not just one game. And there was one series that did go 3 games, and I was hoping for that. Only one, though, did. The other ones all ended in 2 games. Spoiler. But at this point, I'm going to be covering them anyway, so spoilers doesn't matter much anyways. Either way, so then... and then the last game of the day, Padres-Mets, this was all San Diego. They were all over Max Scherzer, all via the home runs. Machado, Grisham, Profar, all over Scherzer. Darvish pitched a great game, only giving up a home run to Eduardo Escobar as the Padres took Game 1 7-1. That is all the Game 1s. Game 2, Cleveland-Tampa. Once again, another pitcher's duel, but this time had major hits. Oh, yeah. One note I want to add from Game 1 of Cleveland-Tampa. It was the shortest game, which was 2 hours, 17 minutes, in postseason history since 1999 NLDS Astros-Braves Game 2. Which, keep in mind, this is back when Houston was in the National League. Yes, Astros weren't always in the National League, American League. They used to be in the National League. And that's how they were played against the White Sox in the 2005 World Series. Which, the fact that it's been that long is, like, crazy. Like, it's crazy, and I was happy to be a part of that history. But history was made the next day because the Guardians and Rays were 0-0 to the 15th inning. Yes, you heard me right. To the 15th inning. 14 innings. 14 and a half, technically, of 0-0 baseball. No runs scored. Both teams pitching well. One Cleveland pitcher had to leave because of an injury. He's not on the ALDS roster. Nick Sandlin. It was just tightness, though, so hopefully everything's okay. And then the Rays decided to throw Corey Kluber in the bottom of the 15th inning against Oscar Gonzalez, who, funny enough, his walk-up song, and I was laughing when I heard this at the game I was at, is SpongeBob SquarePants theme song. Hit a walk-off home run off former Cleveland baseball player Corey Kluber to send the Guardians to ALDS against the Yankees. So already one of my predictions correct, winning Game 2 and the series 1-0. Mariners, Blue Jays Game 2. This was, Toronto was up big early. They were up 7-1 at one point. And you think, like, okay, here you go. I mean, Toronto's about to win Game 2. Nope. Sorry, 8-1 actually, not 7-1. Nope. Seattle came all the way back, completing an off Romano with a bunch of big innings, capped off by a Carlos Santana 3-run homer, and a bases clearing double from J.P. Crawford blooper that Bichette and Springer ended up colliding. Bichette definitely okay. Springer was down and left the game. I hope he is okay. Even with 17, I still hope he is okay because that was a tough, brutal collision they took. Mariners ended up taking the lead on the RBI double in the 9th inning and took it to win the wild card series 10-9 to take the series over the Blue Jays. So already 2 of 4 predictions correct. Mets-Padres Game 2. This was all New York. It was a bit back and forth early, but it wasn't really all New York. But this was not a pitcher's game. This was back and forth, 1-0, 1-1, 2-1, 2-2. Mets took a 3-2 lead and never looked back, as they ended up putting up 4 in the 7th inning to take a 7-2 lead. And even with the Padres 1 run in the 9th, they could not complete the comeback, as the Mets took Game 2 and forced the only Game 3 that happened in the wild card series, as they won Game 2 7-3. Phillies Cardinals Game 2. Nola dominated the Cardinals, absolutely shut them down. I think it went like 7 innings or so. Phillies, on the back of Bryce Harper's solo home run and a sac fly from Kyle Schwarber, took a 2-0 lead. And in the 8th, the Cardinals had 2 on with 1 out, with Goldschmidt and Arenado at the plate. And you'd think generally, they're up? Oh boy. Well, not in a positive way, because they both struck out, and the Phillies ended up holding on. Fittingly, actually, the final out was caught by former Cardinal, traded at the deadline. Philly now traded at the deadline to the Phillies. And Mundo Sosa catching the final out to sweep the Cardinals. That was one of the predictions I got wrong, so I did have St. Louis winning that series, and that is also, I feel bad for... I can't believe I'm saying this as, a Cubs fan, but I feel bad for St. Louis, because, that's a rough way to end, when 2 of your key players from this year are retired, 2 of the fundamental, 2 huge players retiring this year, after this year, sadly. But great careers for Yachty and Albert. They're definitely Hall of Famers. And we'll see what's going to be with the Cardinals next year. But Philly swept. And then Game 3 with the Padres and the Mets, this was all San Diego. Joe Musgrove dominated the Mets. Bassett could not handle the Padres. Diaz came in, did not pitch too great. And what's funny is, going into Game 3, the Padres did not use Josh Hader at all. And they ended up coming in handy, because he ended up getting the final 3 outs. I believe it was just final 3 outs. In Game 3, as the Padres shut out the Mets, on not that many hits even, on 1 hit, first one-hitter shutout loss I think the Mets have ever had or something. Hader went 1 inning, got a strikeout, as the final out was a ground out to Machado, as the Padres advanced to the NLDS to face the Dodgers. So I went 2 out of 4 in my NLDS, in my wild card series predictions, which I will massively take, especially compared to last year, where I didn't get any of them right for the wild card, or really in general. So yesterday we had Game 1 of every LD League Division Series had their Game 1s yesterday. Let's get into that. So just to give you an idea of what the series are, it's Philly. The Phillies are facing the Braves. The Mariners are facing the Astros, the Guardians are facing the Yankees, and the Padres are facing the Dodgers. And once again, just to remind you, I guess if you want the predictions, you could just look back at last short. But either way, Phillies Braves Game 1, Max Fried got wrecked. There's no other way to put it. The Phillies were up 7-1 at one point, and the Braves almost came back. But in the end, the Phillies were able to shut the door in the 9th enough to get a 7-6 Game 1 victory, which is huge for them, keeping their hot momentum right now. And I will say this, I think if they win tonight, they're going to really put Atlanta in a hole heading to Philly. Not saying it's going to be impossible for them to win Game 3 in Philly, but it's going to be tough if they have to go to Philly down 0-2. And they might, if they don't win tonight, they got to win tonight. And I think they know that as well as anybody else in baseball does. They got to win tonight. But either way, that's what happened in that game one. Astros-Mariners. This was a crazy game. With Verlander on the mound, you'd think, okay, Verlander will probably dominate the Mariners. Other way around. The Mariners absolutely wrecked Verlander for, I think it was like almost all the runs. They had a 7-1 lead at one point over the Astros. But thanks to Alex Bregman key home run off... Verlander gave up 6 of the 7 runs that Mariners had. Thanks to a key home run from Alex Bregman off Andres Munoz, they actually made a little bit of they got themselves back in the game at 7-5. And then in the bottom of the ninth, down to their last strike, Jeremy Pena got a base hit to put the tying run on, to represent the tying run. And Yordan Alvarez, the next hitter, they brought in actually Robbie Ray. Robbie Ray to try to get out of the jam, but instead Yordan Alvarez hit a 3-run walk-off home run to capture game one, coming back from down 7-1 to win 8-7 and capture game one at home, which is especially big because Verlander got wrecked. Guardians-Yankees. The Guardians actually struck first in this game, but beyond that, Cole was lights out. Had a high pitch count, but really pitched great for the Yankees. Shutting down the Guardians lineup, very much so. I think he went like 6 into the 7th, if not even into the 8th. Guardians had it a bit. Quantrill started off good, but then got wrecked. Bader home run, but the key nail in the coffin was Rizzo. Got a ball to hit, and he hit it out of the yard to take it a 4-1 lead, and that ended up being the final score, 4-1, as the Yankees took game one at home, 4-1. And the last game of the night was Dodgers hosting the Padres. The Dodgers jumped out 5-0 early, everything clicking. Padres ended up getting 3 runs back, but that was it. The Dodgers won game one 5-3 to take a game to 1 series lead. So that is up to date going into today's game. So today's schedule for baseball: Phillies at Braves. Game 2 is going to be today at 4:35 Eastern. Figure it out on your own time zone from there. Zach Wheeler will be pitching for the Phillies. Kyle Wright pitching for the Braves. And then the Padres at Dodgers game 1 will be at game 2 will be at 8:37 p.m. Yu Darvish pitching for San Diego, Clayton Kershaw pitching for the Dodgers. Both games, the Phillies game will be on Fox. The Dodgers game will be on FS1, both Fox affiliate networks. And also, just to give you an idea for the entire postseason, the AL playoff games up until the World Series will all be on TBS, and the NL ones will be on some sort of Fox affiliate, just so you have an idea for the rest of the postseason. I'll still narrate the networks, but just so you have an idea for in general. That is MLB postseason up to date. So let's talk about college football from this week, which there was some interesting stuff and some not as eye-popping. But to start off, Bama barely got away with a win over Texas A&M. Then again, they were also without their starting quarterback this week, 24-20 over Texas A&M. So that was a rough game for them, and it affected them in the standings, as you will see in a moment. UCLA beat Utah 42-32. South Carolina beat Kentucky 24-14. Notre Dame beat number 16 BYU 28-20. TCU beat Kansas for Kansas' first loss this year, 38-31. Arkansas lost to number 23 Mississippi State 40-17, and that is all the key games from last week. Before we get into the AP rankings, which, by the way, we're coming up soon on when we're going to start getting the college football playoff rankings, just to go over some key matchups this week. Ohio State is off this week. Michigan, Penn State's this week. That will be 12 p.m. on Fox from Ann Arbor. Oklahoma, Kansas in Oklahoma, 12 p.m. on ESPN2 is this week for college football. Alabama at Tennessee, which College Game Day will be there. 3:30 on CBS. That is a big game to watch if you're able to watch that. And that's pretty much it for... Oh, and Mississippi State, Kentucky. Number 16, Mississippi State, and number 22, Kentucky. 7:30 on SEC Network. That's another key game. Now, for the AP rankings for this week. That came out, and soon we're going to be finally talking about the college football playoff rankings, as that's going to be coming out very soon, in like a few weeks. And literally, really in like, give or take 3 weeks, we'll start getting college football playoff rankings. So keep an eye out for that. So, this week's rankings, Georgia moved back to number 1. Number 2, Ohio State moved up to number 2. Alabama falling from number 1 to number 3. Clemson going up from 5 to 4. Michigan going down from 4 to 5. Tennessee going up from 8 to 6. Yeah. USC going down from 6 to 7. Oklahoma State going down from 7 to 8. Ole Miss staying at 9. Penn State staying at 10. UCLA going up from 18 sorry about this. 18 to 11, Oregon going up from 13 to 12. TCU going up from 17 to 13. Wake Forest going up from 15 to 14. NC State going down from 14 to 15. Mississippi State going up from 23 to 16. Kansas State going up from 20 to 17. Syracuse going up from 22 to 18. Kansas staying at 19. Utah going down from Utah going down from I don't know. Let's just do this. I'm sorry, this is taking me a moment here. Utah going from 12 to 11 to 11 down to 20. Cincinnati going up from 24 to 21. Kentucky going down from 13 to 22. Texas newly ranked at 23, Illinois newly ranked at 24, and James Madison, a very much lower school, now ranked at 25, dropping out of the standings this week. BYU, who last week BYU was ranked 16, Washington, who was last week ranked 21, and LSU, who last week was ranked 25. That is the new rankings for the college football from after last week. So now let's get into NFL from this week. The NFL scores from this past week. Hold on 1 second. Sorry about this. This is taking me a bit now. Here we go. Okay. In a completely field goal game that went into overtime, the Colts beat the Broncos 12-9. Denver was up mostly in this game, but the Colts ended up coming back to win. The Giants beat the Packers in London 27-22. Bills all over the Steelers 38-3. The Browns not able to capitalize on opportunities to take the lead, lose to the Chargers at home 30-28, which I did not end up going to this game, and there ended up being midgets, so I was happy I did not go. Texans beat the Jaguars 13-6. In a very interesting, funky game, the Vikings beat the Bears 29-22. Bears had a lead at certain points. Patriots absolutely dominate the Lions 29-0. The Jets dominate the Dolphins, who ended up also losing Teddy Bridgewater and having to use a rookie QB 40-17. Behind some apparently bad calls, the Buccaneers beat the Falcons 21-15. Eagles barely beat out the Cardinals 20-17. The Ravens eke out a win against the Bengals 19-17. And the Chiefs eke out a win against the Raiders 32-29. That is the main key parts of this week's games. This week I went 9-7 in predictions. My total record for predictions this year so far is 45-31-3-1. Standings update in NFL is as follows. The Bills are in first place in the AFC East at 4-1, followed by the Jets and Dolphins both at 3-2, followed by the 2-3 Patriots. AFC North, the Ravens are in first place at 3-2, followed by 2-3 Browns and Bengals in that order, followed by the 1-4 Steelers. AFC South, Titans in first place at 3-2, followed by the 2-2-1 Colts, followed by the 2-3 Jaguars, followed by the 1-3-1 Texans. In the AFC West, the Chiefs are in first place at 4-1, followed by the 3-2 Chargers, followed by the 2-3 Broncos, followed by the 1-4 Raiders. That's for the AFC. For the NFC East, Eagles start in first place 5-0, followed by the 4-1 Cowboys and 4-1 Giants, followed by the 1-4 Commanders. NFC North, Vikings in first place at 4-1, followed by the 3-2 Packers, followed by the 2-3 Bears, followed by the 1-4 Lions. NFC South, the Buccaneers in first place, 3-2, followed by the 2-3 Saints, followed by the 2-3 Falcons, followed by the 1-4 Panthers. And then for the NFC West, 49ers in first place, 3-2, followed by the 2-3 Rams, and by everyone else, Rams, Cardinals, and Seahawks at 2-3. Now for this week's predictions. Week 6, Thursday Night Football kicks off tomorrow night with Commanders at Bears. I have the Bears winning this game. This will sadly probably be another bad game for Thursday Night Football. Falcons at 49ers this is the Sunday games now. I have the 49ers. Patriots at Browns. I'd love to say Browns, but after how sloppy last week is, I'm picking Patriots this week. And especially after they dominated last week. We'll see what happens, though. Maybe I get proven wrong. Jets, Packers at the Packers. I have the Packers. Jaguars at Colts. I have the Colts. Vikings at Dolphins. I have the Vikings because the Dolphins are just low on QB situation right now. Bengals at Saints. I have the Bengals. Ravens at Giants. I have the Ravens. Buccaneers at Steelers. I have Buccaneers. Panthers at Rams. I have the Rams. Cardinals at Seahawks. I have the Cardinals. Bills at Chiefs. I have the Bills, which that should be a very interesting matchup and telling a lot for the AFC down the line. Cowboys at Eagles. I have the Eagles. Chargers at hosting the Broncos. I have the Chargers. That is this week's predictions, and that is this week's episode of the podcast. Thank you so much for watching and listening. If you are new, subscribe down on YouTube. Subscribe down below. Leave a notification bell and turn notified when I go live and or post a video. Help us get to 100 subscribers soon. If you are on audio, follow the podcast, leave a review, and leave a notification bell so you're notified when I post a new episode on there. Thank you so much for watching and listening, and I will see you next week, which I might be back to live streaming next week, or I might still have another week of short videos, but I will be back to the long streams soon. Just not sure yet when. Or when yet. Bye!